Hello, Steve 89. Well, we're up to the fifth episode of The Mandolorian, and we had a couple of things happen. One very exciting, or interesting at least. They finally they sort of cleared some of the mystery regarding Baby Yoda, and they gave him a name. Now, the name is awful. It's Grogu, or Grogu. It's just wrong. Traditionally, the Yoda's people have had Y-sounding names like Yiddle and Yoda, and I think that was the female character's name. Grogu, it just sounds like something you order on a menu. It just doesn't. It's not going to catch on. The child didn't catch on. He's Baby Yoda. We're going to call him Baby Yoda no matter what. We don't expect them to call him Baby Yoda in the show. That's fine, but he's Baby Yoda to us. I don't think it's going to catch on. I don't know what they were thinking with that name, but his history is a little bit interesting. He was hidden in the Jedi. He was raised in the Jedi temple because he was hidden, and then hidden after Order 66. So, he basically was just a baby Jedi. They knew he had the Force or whatever, and they hid him, and that's where he's been. So it's kind of like, okay. Now we come to the other part, and this is why I haven't actually watched the series yet. I haven't watched any episodes yet because of the actors. We've got Gina Carano, who is not technically transphobic, but she is feeding into the transphobia that is around and mocking elements of transgender. And it's just, she's just baiting those people. It's just really ugly because there's, transgender people have to go through a lot of crap, and they get assaulted. Some of them are being killed, and this feels justified by some people and because of their prejudice, and she's just feeding into that by mocking something that they're trying to establish and have taken serious, like pronouns. I personally don't use them myself. I don't think you should have to use them, but mocking them and undermining them is a whole nother thing. I don't do that. I don't use them, but I don't do that. So they're trying to normalize it as part of finding acceptance, which of course would help, against being assaulted and being attacked and discriminated against. So she's feeding into that, and it's pretty evil, although it's not a deliberate, conscious thing she's doing, but she should know well enough to know how fame and platforms work, and that she's feeding into that. But she's right-wing, so she doesn't care, because they're all about might is right, power. They don't care about other people, so she just fits into that whole realm. So I can't stomach her, so I can't watch the show. And now we have someone even worse. So they've got two transphobic women, one who's sort of transphobic by association, by the people that support her for her mocking transgender people. And then we get to someone who's allegedly abusive to transgender people. Basically, Rosario Dawson, who is married to Cory Booker, who was one of the presidential candidates, who, I don't know, I sort of liked him sometimes. He's kind of black and hot, but other times he was just douchey, but I'm not sure what I feel about him, but she's a piece of work. Basically, they hired this lesbian to move into their house, move into some residence that they had, so they could work on renovating Rosario Dawson's apartment or building or some place that they owned. And that was fine until she came out as a transgendered man. Well, they did not accept this. They belittled her, they insulted her, they demeaned her, they misgendered her. Then they eventually asked her to move out. I keep saying her, sorry. Him to move out. And they were pretty ugly about it, allegedly. This went to court, and eventually, and this person, I've forgotten their name, I should have written their name down, but I can't read my writing anyway. They had recorded some incidents on their phone of this harassment and so forth. They threatened a bunch of stuff, like he wouldn't move out because there was they had no legal reason to do this to them, because just being transgender is not a reason to fire someone or anything like that. But they didn't care. So they literally, Rosario allegedly held him down. There were three people from the family who assaulted him. One pulled him out of a window and then Rosario held him down so her mother could sit on him and beat him and say, "You're not a man now." I mean, these are some pretty sick people, allegedly. And these are the people that they're hiring for the Mandalorian, or the people they're not firing for the Mandalorian in Gina Carano's case. And apparently Pablo, what's his name? Pascal. Apparently he is kind of trying to extend the olive branch to Gina, because I think he likes her as a person, because that's the annoying thing about these right-wing bullies and people. They're quite usually charismatic, nice, interesting people when you can separate them from their politics, but then you have to acknowledge their politics. You can't get around it. And the whole, difference is all about, we can all have different opinions. Well, not when it comes to human rights and basic, human rights standards, like, not killing black people, transgender people having the same rights as other people. You can disagree on politics and taxes and stuff like that, but we can't disagree about basic human rights and basic humanity. I mean, you just can't. So these people, you can't accept them. You have to fight them. You have to resist them about this stuff, because otherwise they will manipulate you into accepting these things as norms and okay, and then we'll be back in the 50s before we know it. So I really have a problem with them hiring this transphobic bitch, alleged transphobic bitch, and not firing this other adjacent transphobic bitch, allegedly. I keep saying allegedly like they know I exist and they're going to sue me, but I don't know, probably should just say it. But I mean, I don't actually know, obviously, if these charges against Rosario are true or not, but considering the way transgender people are treated on the regular, I wouldn't put it past anyone. So yeah, I'm kind of just assuming it's happened. And I mean, you should in theory be able to separate actors and their performances, or actors and their work, from their personal life, but it's just hard to stomach it. Like, I just don't know how I'm going to watch you on screen and be like, you help to beat a transgendered woman because they dared to exist. I mean, I just don't know how I can watch the character and not be thinking of that and have it be ruined. Same with Gina Carano. She seemed fine in the first season. I thought, well, she seems kick-ass. She seems like a strong, actual, powerful woman, not like the fake sort of woke ones. But then she turns out to be a right-wing bully. And it's like, oh, why do they all... And it's like all the YouTubers I like, they were all sort of interesting, fun people. I like them all. They shared my interests. Like, I could watch all their videos and I understood what they were talking about. I agreed with them for most anything. And then their politics starts to seep into everything as we get closer to the election, and you realise they're all a bunch of right-wing nuts. To the point that they actually deny, like I was watching Midnight's Edge, they had Robert Meyer Burnett on, the same Robert Meyer Burnett who, during the Black Lives Matters riots, said, shoot them all, the black protesters, obviously, because that's the majority of the people protesting. He came on and said, oh, yeah, of course, I went home Thanksgiving. I just ignored the governor. I ignored the social distancing and everything. I just went home because I don't acknowledge that this is happening, They're basically COVID minimizers. I can't call them COVID hoaxes, because on some level they acknowledge it exists, but they just then undermine it by saying it's exaggerated and the facts are all like fraudulent and the numbers are fraudulent, and they sort of acknowledge it because they know they will sound totally crazy if they don't acknowledge it, but then they undermine it so they can just go on acting like hoaxes anyway. So there's all this crap, and that's why I haven't watched The Mandalorian yet, because of those actors. And the reason why I'm feeling a loss, because I really spent a lot of time watching these people's videos, and they were my connection to the community, really, because I don't really know any sci-fi fans or anyone who cares about geek culture like I do. I'm quite isolated before the lockdown and the pandemic. I was already isolated by my fandom, and I did feel connected to these people for a while. I used to talk to them sometimes, and they sort of knew me in that, some of them. And now it's like, I can't deal with these people. They're contributing to this problem that's killing thousands of people every day, and they're willfully endangering the people in their lives and just in denial of this reality. And I'm like, I just don't know how to deal with them. So I'm finding it hard to watch them now. I've kind of stopped watching Robert Meyer Burnett's, and that's the worst, because his videos are really good. He really knows a lot about the industry, but I just can't stomach him. I mean, just shoot them all. I mean, God, I just can't stomach him. And the same goes for Neurotic with all his rants about, like, basically the governors all have these conspiracy reasons to, like, destroy people's businesses, and it's just insane rant stuff that they're going on with. And now even, like, you got Mr. H on Midnight's Edge a lot of the time, and he's a COVID minimizer. He says he's not a hoax, so actually acknowledges it exists, but then he minimizes it, and it's the same thing. And it's like all the people I used to listen to are evil, and everyone else is a bunch of shills who say Star Trek Discovery is the greatest thing ever, and it's like, I can't win. I got nobody. But I'm going to go and not accept the name Grogu. It's just not happening. It's like Fetch. It's never going to happen. Well, maybe we should make Fetch happen. Maybe after all these years we can do like a hashtag, make Fetch happen. Like, it's been like what, 20 years, 30 years, it still hasn't happened. But yeah, Grogu's not happening. Baby Yoda's Baby Yoda, and I like that they're trying to connect Rebels with the character Ahsoka Tano, but the actress, I just can't look at her. Even with the makeup, I still can't look at her. Because I believe that case is true. I don't know, but I believe it. So I'm going to work out how to, because I do want to see the series because it's Star Wars, and that's what they ruin it. They ruin it for the fans. They kept going on rightfully about how the lefties were always bringing in their politics into genre shows and entertainment, and you couldn't enjoy it because of that. And then they just go and do the same, because apparently it's okay to do it with right-wing politics because, that's what they believe. It's just the left can't do it because they disagree with them, not because the idea of bringing politics into entertainment is wrong. It's just they just didn't agree with their politics. So all the people this whole time that were saying they're a bunch of homophobes and racists, allegedly, supposedly, were right, in my humble opinion, allegedly, supposedly, whatever, because they didn't have a problem with the idea of politics being brought in entertainment, just left politics. They were happy with the right being in there. And it's just really depressing because, I got nowhere to go. The left are crazy, the right are evil, and I'm just stuck in the middle with my trebles and my fraggles and my toys, and they don't talk back, so it's just a very lonely place. I'm going to go back to my isolation. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks.